90% is just the wrapper around magical parts.
Right. All right. We're live on StreamYard, which means I believe we're live on
Facebook. Right?
Facebook.
Okay.
I believe. And I've sent you an invitation.
Thank you. I love being invited to things.
And now you're invited. But and what Dave is so excited about is alternatives.
Which we keep hearing about this each week. More and more of our listeners are looking for alternatives.
Right. They want to know, what else is out there?
Well, because like right now, and I've had a couple more folks, all of a sudden it wanted to update their machines to Windows 11, and now they've got a nice piece of junk because it bricked it.
Yep. Happens a lot.
Yeah, and I had 3 other folks sit there and say, what do I do? It messed up my machine. So I'm showing them, and they're going to our website, how to undo,
how to roll that back.
Yeah, roll it back. And a number, thank you very much. I just got to find another way. And, of course, you ask the question, well, what are you doing? And you tell them, I'd say 95% of the time, a Chromebook will satisfy the average person's use. Well, I do photos. Okay, it can do that. I like to listen to music. Yeah, I can do that. I want to do mail or surfing and everything else. It does it. And the big advantage is it doesn't get the spyware, the malware, and the other junk right now. So, it's a win-win all the way around. And that, which led me to, I've used a Chromebook now for a while, but you've got me going on
you have the Facebook stream up?
A number of folks that were saying, oh, well, let's try PC Linux. The past week, a lot of folks have been calling about that. Okay. I found an old PC and I downloaded Linux Mint, and when I called you, said XFCE.
Right.
So I tried to download that, and that's where I lost some sleep. I'll admit it. It's addictive. Back like when you first got me hooked on the internet.
I remember this is all my fault, apparently.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What's good?
Have you registered blamenick.com?
Yeah.
Lord, I should. I really should.
No, it is really slick. Yeah. They make it so easy to install and, set up, and it looks a lot like Windows. A lot of stuff is already in there. LibreOffice is in there, everything else. I'm just having a little snafu right now trying to get it to work on my Windows network.
Okay.
And like I say, right now I've got it set up and it sees the computers, but when I try to click on one, because I've got them set up shared,
are you using the same username and password? Because if you've got it locked so that you can't get in unless you're a specific user.
I've got the shares set up for everyone.
So it's wide open.
Yeah, all the computers within my intranet are set up as shared folders, everyone, and they get rewrite access. We do have a caller, so we'll come back to this.
Sure.
Our first caller this week is Roger from Greece, New York. Hi, Roger. What's up?
Hi. My wife has an iPad, and she uses Gmail on it. Something happened to mess up her Gmail this week. We can't get in. At one point, we changed the password. It just doesn't respond. I go in there and I try and sign in, and it just won't let me in. And I need somebody to help with this. I went over to Dave's shop yesterday, but you're not there anymore. And I went to your website and left an inquiry, but I haven't gotten a response there. So I need to know who to see about this.
I don't work on Macs.
What you can do, there is a store that is associated with the company that makes that product over at Eastview. And if you go to their website at apple.com/support, they have a way that you can sign up for a consultation that they provide free of charge. and they can walk you through those things. Is there any part of that that you'd like us to help you with today?
Well, I
What
don't
error
know.
message do you get?
Well, I enter the password for
Okay.
her, and it says go to settings. I go to settings. It says there was a problem accessing your account. Please re-enter the password.
Okay.
Sign in and continue to iOS. I sign in. It says enter the password. I enter it, and then it gives me a two-step verification,
Yes.
and I get that using her phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally it says enter verification code and get, I entered the verification code and I get an authorization error 403, disallowed user agent.
Right. Okay. I have some ways to help you. The most easy and efficient way to get access to a Gmail account is to download the Gmail app from the App Store for your iPad. So on your iPad, there's an icon for App Store. And if you search for Gmail, you can download the app free of charge. And when you sign up with Gmail, you get a username and password. And you can put that directly into this app. And that saves you from having to jump through a number of other hoops to get to your mail messages. It does mean that you'll use that app instead of Apple's mail program, but it will get you access to your mail without having to jump through a lot of extra hoops.
Well, I went to the Gmail app, and I went to the App Store.
Okay.
And I see a Gmail app, I see a Google app. I tried downloading them both, and it wouldn't let me. It gave a message something like, "This is not compatible with your machine," or something like that.
Okay. Thank you for trying that in advance. That's good. One of the things that happens with apps from the App Store is that they expect a certain amount of capability on the device itself. And your iPad probably would have that, but we just need to make sure that you're running the most recent version of the iPad OS. And the way to make that up to date is to go to the Settings application, go to General, and then go to Software Update. If there's an option there to keep that up to date, then that will help.
I think I did that, and it also gave me a message saying that it couldn't go through, or it couldn't accept it.
Okay. It's possible that your iPad may be an older model, and some of the oldest models, the iPad is a device that's been around for almost 12 years now. So some of the earlier models may not be compatible with the latest version of that. So in that case, we would go back to trying to use Apple's mail program. And again, having to jump through the extra hoops for security can be a bit of a pain, but the method that you're attempting to use here is the best one.
Yeah, at this point, it's probably best if you go to either the Apple Store or to Mac Ave and have someone actually put their hands on the device and look at it and see, because if it needs to be upgraded and you need to install the software and it's best to have somebody who knows what they're doing look at the software at that point and see each step that can be done.
I'd like that. I'm not sure how long she's had this machine, but it's easily 5 years and maybe going on 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very possible then. So yeah, the best bet is to take it to a reputable dealer, either the Apple Store or Mac Ave at this point are two of them, and have them look at it directly.
Okay, what was the second name you said? Mac
Ave, mac-ave.com. And they would also be able to help you.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There often comes a point at which, honestly, you have to have eyes on it.
Yep.
When there are that many conceivable issues, whether they're all issues or not,
Right.
The fact that there are possibly issues.
Each one of those is a fork in the road.
Right.
You know, and the one direction leads to possible success. The other direction leads to, you know, certain doom. But but you get enough of those, you know, options where you pick between A and B, and things get complicated pretty quickly.
One does not simply walk into the Apple store.
No, you must have an appointment.
You must have an appointment. All right. And you can give us a call. No appointment necessary, just a phone line, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
Now, what was the name of that? That it was a bunch of like 4 letters on your Linux Mint that you were excited about?
XFCE.
What does that stand for?
Nobody knows.
Oh. But yeah, evidently it's new for Linux. The Linux, they've got the Mint, the Cinnamon, and now they've got XFCE.
Okay, so that's the desktop environment that lives on top of Linux Mint?
Right, it's the GUI.
I see. Okay, the window manager.
And it is available for hundreds of operating systems. Any version of
learning
Linux.
This myself.
You can run XFCE. One of the things I like about it is it's fairly lightweight. It's fast. It's easy. I've been using it for, I don't know, 20 years.
Oh, really?
Longer.
Okay.
And it's just become, it's a version of the CDE, the Common Desktop Environment. And it was originally an acronym for Xforms Common Environment.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And I like
but it does, you know, it's been rewritten many times, and it doesn't use the Xforms anymore. So now it just stands for XFCE.
But like what you were saying though, Nick, I found I had an old desktop unit laying around. So I pasted together some parts, and I got, 8 meg on it. And matter of fact, I had a spare 1 terabyte hard drive. Big.
Don't talk to me about 1 tip. That'll be for later.
Okay. So I wound up putting one of those on the old, it's not an SSD, it's one of the old, and boom, it loaded up quickly.
It's fast.
It is. And I can see where folks, if you learn, like we've said before, you know how to drive a car. You just got to learn where the buttons are. And that's what I'm going through right now.
Right.
I've got it up. I've got it running. I just got to learn the procedures. A lot of it's there already set for you. And I mean, the amount of programs, 66,000.
Yeah, all free, by the way.
66,000 programs, folks, that you can download and put on. I wanted Gmail, because that's what I use. So it put on the GNOME, and it said, all right, what Gmail account you want? And I typed it in. Boop, there it was.
Did you use Evolution? Is that your...
Probably. I forget. I was
probably. Yeah.
Like I say, I was like a kid in a candy store right there. You were saying before, put in Samba. I went down the program search, put in the search for Samba. Boom, pulled it up, said, do you want to install it? Yeah, go for it. And
it's literally a matter of yes or no. That's all it takes to install software.
The other cool thing that I really like about it is down in the lower right-hand corner is a little shield. And if it's half, it says, oh, hey, wait a minute, you need some updates. You can click on it. It'll remind you to go up and automatically bring down the updates.
Yep. Yeah. And unless it's an actual update to the operating system, you don't have to reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, I continue to be surprised at how much software is available under Linux. So, for example, when my father-in-law passed, I had all his family tree software, all his genealogy stuff.
Yep.
Right.
And so I looked for a genealogy program because I didn't have one at the time.
Right.
And it turns out that there's one called Gramps, which probably stands for something.
Sure.
I installed it and I pointed it at the file from Family Tree, and it said, "Yeah, not a problem." Everything came in. pictures, everything,
Interesting.
everything.
Like I say, if I can get past that other part of solving it to work on my Windows network, I can see myself by next year moving all over to Linux.
It's less hassle.
And being able
That's
to
simple
do
enough.
the different desktop windows, up to 4 different window panes if you want.
You can have, you're not limited to 4. On XFCE, I'm currently using 6. I have used up to 9, but even that was, for me, even that was a little too much. But in general, it does an amazing amount of stuff. And Windows lets you, by the way, have alternate desktops as well.
Yeah.
You can tab back and forth to alternate desktop. It's not easy. They don't make it convenient.
Not as easy as this.
No,
stuff.
nothing is as easy as this. But it's doable. Absolutely. All right, listen, we have someone on the line. We'll get to that person the minute we come back from break, but we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, with Dennis Worster, with me, Nick Francesco, with Jim from Irondequoit, and with you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest running computer show in the known universe. Well, if you didn't recognize the description, it's Soundbites on member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you on the other side.
Computer talk you can understand. More Soundbites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is an NBC News Radio special report, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Biden is expected to give a major speech in Poland today on the Russian war in Ukraine. The president will deliver remarks after wrapping up a meeting with the Polish president in which Biden called for NATO unity in the face of Russian aggression. Biden also met with Ukrainian government leaders who were seeking more military assistance from the West. The president is also meeting with Ukrainian refugees who are now calling a sports stadium in Poland their home.
Thank you. Can I help you at all? Anyway.
These sausages are very good, Mr. President.
Oh, I know. I just
The
ate.
Polish sausages are awesome.
Believe me, I know. Just had. Thank you.
A venue that once hosted rock concerts and soccer matches in Warsaw is now providing temporary shelter to those who are fleeing the ongoing Russian invasion. Brad Siegel, NBC News Radio.
Who's tough enough to survive on The Voice? This is Sandra Singlo with the Lowdown on Science. Animals must compete for food, mates, and other resources to win the survival race. The successful ones tend to be larger or more physically formidable than their opponents. But size can be misleading. So animals often use vocal cues to size each other up. Jordan Rain and colleagues at the University of Sussex wondered, do humans have this ability? To find out, they measured the body strength of 2 groups of volunteers. Then they recorded the first group speaking aggressively and roaring loudly. The second group had to listen to the recordings and judge, is that person stronger than me or weaker? How did they do? Not too shabby. 88% of the time, males could accurately hear which other males were stronger. But females tended to overestimate males of the same strength as themselves. The researchers believe this is because women often tend to underestimate their own abilities. Rain thinks that hearing the strength of others in time to turn tail and run may have helped our ancestors survive. This just might be the secret to beating out the competition on The Voice and Survivor.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by Finger Lakes Mercantile, a veteran-owned and operated business offering graphic design services and UV printing. For more information, including samples of the products they provide, you may visit fingerlakesmercantile.com or call 585-944-1077.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
Hi, I'm E.J. Williams. Each year, millions of animals are abandoned, and more than 1 million are euthanized before they can be rescued. Organizations like American Humane are working to harness the healing power of the human-animal bond, as animals can be trained as life-saving service dogs to help veterans, the elderly, and children with special needs to overcome, and the people they help a new leash on life. Please visit AmericanHumane.org.
And now, a check of your Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
An unsettled story this weekend and a wintry story as well. As we head through this Saturday, we'll look for a mostly cloudy sky and a few rain showers around. Can't even rule out a wet snowflake or two in the high hills. A high temperature into the mid-40s. Your Saturday night features scattered showers of both rain and wet snow. In fact, into the higher elevations southwest of Rochester, a little bit of accumulation is possible. The overnight low temperature into the mid-20s. We'll look for a stiff breeze with areas of lake snow on Sunday, the high near 30. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got overcast skies. It's breezy, 42 degrees out at the airport and 46 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is Rob Linton. Join me weekdays from 4 to 6 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Dennis Worster.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites, and we have Jim from Irondequoit waiting patiently on the line. Hi, Jim. What's up?
Well, this might be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I wonder if there's any way you can detect when your computer is going to crash or die for good. If there's any performance things or any indication, or I know I go to Task Manager and it says I've got 104 backup processes and 100 window processes. And I just wondered, is there anything that I could detect that would know that I need a new computer and the one I have is about to die?
Yeah, when you go to turn it on and it doesn't turn on.
And you smell smoke. That's bad.
That's the worst one, when you turn it on and see smoke.
Don't let the magic smoke out.
Jim has called the right show. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly right. So, Jim, here's the deal. The answer is mostly no and a little bit yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The yes is for your hard drives.
Yeah.
Most hard drives nowadays are smart drives, and I don't remember what smart stands for, and I don't even care. But what that means is that there is a program you can run that tells you the health of the hard drives. It'll tell you how many hours it's been running, if there have been any errors, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll also tell you the I guess quality of the drive itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it looks at trends.
The read and write integrity.
Right. And so if you take a look at that fairly regularly and start to see it going downhill a little bit, might be time to deal with those drives.
So where can I find this?
There's
smart monitoring tools.
Yeah, under accessories, under disk management, I think it is, or tools. There's
we'll find it for you.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. The other thing, though, Jim, is you're going to also see as the machine is going, if you go to restart and you might get it's slow to restart and it just keeps getting slower and slower, or it might lock up or that. Those could all be signs that things are, especially on older machines. New machines, no, not as much.
Right. But as time goes on, that's why we're always telling people back up.
Your data is the most important part. So that's the part we tend to focus on when we think about machines that are about to die. There are a number of other ways that machines can die. If they're not able to get the appropriate level and flavor of electricity that they're expecting to run correctly, then they will often behave badly, either crash or go dark completely. If they are have weak batteries. If you're using a laptop, you'll find that they seem like they're running great, and then 2 minutes later, the machine just completely shuts off out of nowhere. There are lots of different ways for computers to kick the bucket.
Okay, I've seen that happen.
Okay.
Right.
Well, a great shop can help you diagnose to determine if it's just one component or if it's a series of components that need to be replaced. But in general, my recommendation is, unless you're a hobbyist, don't use a computer that's older than your car. And let me explain what I mean by
My
that.
car's 12 years old.
You're a hobbyist, sir.
How dare you, sir?
People who like to have a fresh new car and don't want to have to deal with dripping things on their driveway or products that where the piece of plastic is snapped off, they really want to have an experience that is devoid of those annoyances. Other people are willing to put up with that if it means they can save a little bit of money and keep going down the road a little bit longer, and they're less concerned with that sort of thing. But in general, that's been the comparison.
I actually bought another computer, but I was just curious about the one. I got a new one for safety, and I'm just curious about the second one. Now, what about that smart thing you were going to tell me where to find?
Smart monitoring tools
stands for self-monitoring and analysis and reporting.
Okay.
Will from Hampton, Virginia, texted in.
Okay. What a wonderful thing that we have people from so far away helping us out.
Yeah,
helping us
really.
do our jobs. That's
Where's
wonderful.
he from?
Is it on Windows?
Will from Hampton, Virginia.
Nice. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, I thanked him.
There are places on the internet where you can download the smart monitoring system, but I believe there's something built into Windows, isn't
I
it?
thought there was. We're investigating this furiously while we're talking with you here. So
This
I
is
apologize.
on air and live.
That's right. We are tap dancing as fast as we can.
But yeah, you'll see. Like I say, the best tool is just your own experience. And you know what your computer normally does day to day, and you know how it reacts and that type of stuff, given the age of that. And if anything from the outside of that, might cause concern, to kind of start watching, especially once the unit starts how old is this machine anyways?
It's about 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not terribly old.
No, that's not terribly old. But in that case, I would say most likely, if anything was going to go, it would probably be lean towards the hard drive.
Okay.
So that's where, you want to might do spin right. That'll do testing on a hard drive and tell you, if there's a lot of bad sectors and that type of stuff.
If it's a spinning drive, I would use that. If it was a SSD, I wouldn't.
A 4-year-old machine, I'll bet you that's not an SSD.
It's definitely that's a transition. Time.
So there's different tools out there, but I would, if you're going to look at anything, I would say probably the hard drive.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And I have found a link to a program called Crystal Disk Info, and I will put that on the Soundbites website at some point in the very near future. I'm trying to do 15 things at once, so
slacker.
That's a little, exactly.
Only 50.
Only 50, and I apologize. Steve is very good about putting this stuff up and putting all kinds of information. I just barely get the link in and a name.
That's right.
And that's and we're done.
Hey,
we can come back and improve it.
That's right.
No
the other thing I have seen on machines of that vintage is the thermal paste on the CPU between the CPU and the heat sinks.
Yeah, if it starts getting overheated and shutting down on you, it'll usually lock up or start shutting down if it's starting to overheat due to thermal paste.
And if $10 worth of thermal paste can make a 4-year-old machine play like new. And
well, like I say, that machine that I was slapping together, that's one thing I had to do is I took the CPU off because the fan I knew needed replacing.
Right.
So I thought, all right, well, since I got it off, I repasted it and then mounted it on a new fan, hooked that up, and just kind of cleaned the thing up, blew it out, and threw another video card in because the other one in that was hacked.
I was saying that I just took a bunch of computers to the recycling.
Right.
And one of the towers that I opened up, I pulled off the side, picked up my screwdriver, and I watched the fan and heatsink assembly go.
Oh no, that's no good.
Yeah, that could be why that one wasn't working anymore.
Check, please. Yeah.
So, you want to make sure all that works. I've got a. Okay,
It's usually been for us. It's usually been heat is the primary thing, whether that's fans that are clogged with dust or heat that's not able to get away from the CPU, because the CPUs these days are smart enough that they will throttle themselves down rather than risk damage from excessive heat. So if it's either that or your data is not able to be read or written efficiently, where it's having to redo things over and over and over. We can't tell when it's trying to do these things over and over. All we know is that, hey, the computer's not done doing what we expected it to do yet. Boy, that sure is taking a long time.
Right.
All we see are the effects, the symptoms. We don't necessarily know precisely what's going on. But you see enough of these things over your career, and you kind of put them into a few different categories.
Yeah.
It's really all about the experience. You know, you can look at a machine and go, "Oh, well, I think it's this." And somebody will say, why did you think that? And you go, I don't know. I just thought that.
Yeah. Gut reaction.
It just made sense to me.
Over time.
And most of the time we're correct. Not every time.
No, but more often than we should be.
Yeah. It's the surprises that make life interesting.
Well, you see it enough, the certain symptoms and that type of stuff and reaction to stuff that.
And we're always learning. That's the fundamental part of it, is that even though we think we know what it is, 85%, there's always that 15%. We're like, or it could be something I've never seen before.
Yep,
exactly.
And you have to have that open.
It's Windows usually. That'll open Pandora's box for you.
Yep. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Pat from Batavia, New York. Hiya, Pat. What's up?
Well, guys, I got a funny story about experience.
Okay.
And years ago, I worked at Radio Shack when I first started there. Person brought a cassette recorder in. They said it's just not playing right. So the manager thought he'd show off, and from how smart he says, a lot of times a belt slip or some motor, something like that. So he tears the whole thing apart, right? And he's looking at all this, everything, and he's pointing all this stuff out to me. And I said, well, what about the battery? He said, what do you mean? And he looked at me and goes, I never tested the batteries.
Yep.
Tested the batteries. They were
shot.
They were shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you're just so much smarter than me. The only thing I would have known was to test the batteries.
That's right.
He goes, go restock some.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah.
Well, which is interesting because it leads into my real question.
Okay.
And I realize I'm going to have to talk to some older guys. So
we'll go find some for you.
Yeah, believe me, if you find two older than you're working with, you're lucky. Anyway, I went yesterday to about 4 stores. I need a new AC/DC charger for my 6-volt cassette recorder. So I go up and ask for an adapter, power adapter, and the first kid who looks at me goes, "Well, what is it for?" And I thought, "This for it." And I'm thinking, "Do you even know what a cassette recorder is?"
Right.
A player, right? So 4 stores I went to in town here, couldn't find one. So now I'm thinking I have to order one, over online. But how do you order something for a cassette recorder? Like now with USB, you've got AC, whatever, the different kinds, mini, whatever. You can describe it. How do you look up to see that the plug will match the jack in the recorder? Well, I guess that's the question.
Yeah. How do you identify or describe something when you don't know what the industry term is? Right.
Right.
Or even know what, how to check it. It'd be like ordering a pair of shoes and say regular.
Is there a, on the current unit that you're using to charge it, and, the part that plugs into the wall, if you unplug that and look at the bottom of it, is there a serial number or description there?
It's downstairs, but I will make note of that. So
because quite often, if there's a part number, that's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah.
If you put that part number in or manufacturer, you could probably gain a lot of information on what it is and what size jack that is at the end.
would the cassette recorder, because I happen to be holding the cassette recorder, the cassette, would that?
But that pin is what's the key.
Yep.
Those pins they make them in all different sizes.
Yeah, I've got a couple adapters, and it's the kind that has a hole in the middle.
Right.
But again, to
not like
play
an
it safe and avoid a lot of aggravation, is I would grab that unit that you use to power it and look at the underside and look up that model number. That will give you the specifications for that unit. And that's what you want to go by.
Right.
So you're not...
So work with the jack that you have for the power
Mhm.
supply rather than the unit itself.
Right. Because I've got a number of different units, and the pins on those are different sizes. Like on my, say for my Chromebook, that's a very small pin that unit plugs in and charges. Versus, say, something for one of my meters or something else, which if I'm going to power it up, it's got the little pin that's in there is a lot bigger. And other laptops have all different sizes. That's why one thing they never set a standard for is a universal pin size for chargers. That's why they had multiple.
Well, that was what, going back to my old days of Radio Shack, that was what Universal was described as. Universal was.
Yeah, and you'd get this little sack, but they'd give you a sack of different connectors.
Like 8 different ones.
Yeah, that you could try and see which one was going to work.
Right. And and the other challenge was the polarity. They didn't always specify what the polarity was on the adapter itself.
At the unit, it does show I don't have my glasses on, but it looks like it shows tip negative, tip positive, tip and ring, So you
right. Well, you got to look at the wall wart, at the power supply itself. That'll tell you a lot more. I mean, I had a friend call me up one day and said, "Oh, I need a new power supply. What should I get?" I said, "What?" Well, there's a lot to know. He said, "Oh, it's a barrel connector." Well, okay. There's only about 40 different kinds of barrel connectors, but that's good. You knew that much.
My car has wheels.
I think barrel is what this one is. But
but you got to look at the actual wall wart, the actual plug itself.
I found a document online that talks about working through the steps to find yourself a matching unit here. I'll pass the link over to Nick, and he'll put it on the website.
Okay, give it to Steve. He'll put it on when he gets a chance.
I'll put it on during the next break.
One way or another, we'll get it there.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks very much. I didn't think about that, but that's good. Great idea.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's one of the challenges.
Yeah.
These days, as Steve often says, the beautiful thing about standards is that there are so many.
There's some you can choose from anyone you want. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And that's you say, "Oh, I've got a USB connector." Oh,
okay. USB A, USB B, mini, micro.
Right. Exactly. And now C.
Super speed.
Right.
Version 3.
Right. USB 2, USB 3. So
my car has tires.
Exactly.
Well, like I say, I had this. Matter of fact, I still might have it hanging around. We got this little kit because of all the different laptops. People would come in with their laptop. Oh, you don't have the cord for it? No.
Do you know how many different cords there are?
Yeah. Exactly. So we wound up getting this kit, and it had like a quick disconnect at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You plugged it in the wall, quick disconnect at the end, and then they gave us a sack of like 8 or 9 different connectors. And they ranged, from pretty good size, like on the HPs for connecting to the pin, down to a very small one. And we had to first try it, see which one was going to fit, and then we'd connect it to the power connector and then be able to boot up the machine.
Yep.
But the number of folks that would come in, oh, I didn't remember to bring the power cord. How are we supposed to test it if you didn't bring it in the
power?
What
I love now is that every Chromebook uses USB-C. The Mac uses USB-C. A couple of my other laptops use USB-C for power. And so I can put one power brick
in your bag.
In my bag.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter which laptop I grab.
See, mine still uses it's a very small, it's like
my
pencil tip.
Linux laptop, the 13-incher that I used to teach with.
Mm-hmm.
Uses a fairly unique
small
barrel connector.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little thing.
I always get so nervous when they get that tiny. That
You're going to snap it off or something.
From day one.
Yeah.
Well, and Apple has messed this up a little bit.
Yes,
It used to be that, yes, you could charge with USB-C. And to be fair, with their current laptops, you can still charge with USB-C. But the latest ones have brought back Apple's proprietary MagSafe connector. So that's the one that uses magnets to hold the cable up to the computer. And it's nice because if the dog walks by or if you get up and trip over something,
that is a good one.
It's a very handy thing, but it is a unique and proprietary device.
Except you can buy USB-C connectors.
A little widget you plug into your C.
Yeah, the little thing just sticks out just a little bit, and then it's got the magnet.
And I have one of those. It was on this machine. I don't remember why I took it off. I don't know, but it works. It works exactly like MagSafe. Only, of course, they don't call it MagSafe.
Yes,
for obvious reasons.
Right.
But yeah, it's a thing that is, to me, great. And I had it on my phone for a while. I don't remember why I took them off. There was a reason for it. I needed them somewhere else. I don't remember where.
Somebody else might have acquired them.
Yes, that's exactly
within your house.
Now that you say that, yes.
I was gonna say, that's cool, Dad. Can I have one? Here, honey, take it.
Right.
I only had 5.
I think it's one of those things. It's like scissors. You have to just keep buying them until everywhere you look in your house, you have scissors. You just keep putting them in everybody's stocking at Christmas time, and then eventually you'll just have so many that it won't be as desirable, and they won't walk off.
I used to do that. I used to give as a stocking stuffer. I used to give USB drives.
Sure.
To my wife and my daughter every year. The other day I was looking for a USB drive. My wife has like 50 of them. I have 2.
And she wants to borrow one from you.
She's swimming in them.
And she's always asking me for one.
Yeah.
So so I've got to buy some USB drives for myself now.
Right. Well, and that's nice because every single year you could buy one that was twice as big for the same amount of money.
Ain't that the truth? I actually bought I bought one for my Pi 400.
Yeah.
It's half a terabyte.
My goodness.
And it's the size of my thumbnail.
Well, I like the ones that come with the pies and all that right now. They're just a little tiny square. You separate it, you slide the
micro
USB and then slide it into the USB, and it is small and fast.
Yeah.
Here's the one I like. I think it's made by SanDisk. Out one side, I'm
Oh,
holding it up to the
nice.
camera. USB.
I've got one
this
like
one's
that.
64 gigs. Then you slide it out to the other side, USB-C.
Oh, sweet.
I
Check
need
that
this.
out. They're available. You can get them in stores locally.
I will. Who makes this?
I believe it's SanDisk.
You've covered over the.
I know. I could pull that label. I put a
No,
label
no,
on it
don't
with
bother.
what's on it. But
Oh, I like
I'll let it be a
that.
surprise to you.
I like that. Oh, and it's even got a
But it's very convenient.
lanyard
Yes.
hole, assuming you could get anything through there.
Yep. And so when you have a modern laptop, you use your USB-C end on that. And then when it's time to, what I was doing was making disk images to boot old computers.
Yeah.
So I go and make the disk image on my new computer. It makes it real fast. I copy it to the drive. And then I go to the old computer and I flip it around the other way. I'm holding it up to the camera here for
Right.
StreamYard folks. And I plug it into the old one and treat it like an old one. And it works
Into the
just
USB
fine.
port.
It costs a little bit more than your average one.
Yeah, well, it's
That's
dual
okay.
purpose.
But it's very convenient.
This is the one I like.
Oh, that's so small.
That I carry on my. It's 32 gig. It's only 32 gig. This is an old one.
It's the size of a stick of dentine.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. But I'm gonna pick me up a couple of them.
Yes, I'll tell you what. I will. I'll
You
find
better
out.
order more than that because you know a few will disappear.
Well, that's exactly right.
Well, maybe you can buy a few. It is.
But it's-
It is SanDisk that
Okay,
makes that.
SanDisk, thank you. It is getting to the point where, my a couple of Chromebooks only have USB-C in them. A couple, my Mac, of course, God forbid it has anything. It's not thick enough even for USB-C, but they've made the concession. And there's I need some USB-C drives, but if I can get something that does both,
Right.
well, that's just better.
You think?
So I'll do that.
Right. It means that whatever you reach in and grab, you know is going to work.
That's exactly
whatever
right.
your task of the day is.
That's exactly right. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I'm pretty pleased with that. That sounds like a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I'll have to pick some up.
Yeah.
32 gig?
That one I think was 32. Yeah, but
Okay.
they come in various sizes.
Well, that's the point. Yeah, I need something larger.
And I bet if you order enough of them, you might be able to get a quantity discount somewhere.
And I may have to order enough of them.
Yeah.
As Dave said, they do have a tendency to walk.
It's like,
Yeah.
where'd that go?
Just get on what do they call it? Amazon has that subscription, the subscribe and save.
Yeah.
Just have a new one show up every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Or, I could use something like this.
Yeah.
Yoink.
Off it goes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. That's all right. Look, we've got somebody on the line. Mike, stay on the line. We'll get to you right after the break. I apologize. Please be patient. But we are going to take the first hour of this show is done. It is in the past. But don't despair. There's a whole nother hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe coming your way. Okay, despair a little bit because there's a whole nother hour of Dave Enright. But that's mitigated by a whole nother hour of Dennis Worster, and sadly a whole nother hour of me, and a whole nother hour of all of you. Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415. Join us online at soundbytes.org. Please remember to vote in the poll. It's a pretty easy choice this time around. We'll be back in just a few more minutes with a whole lot more sound bites on member-supported Jazz 90.1. We'll see you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester. A public service of the Greece Central School District. Jazz 90.1.
On Facebook at Jazz 901 FM.
This is an NBC News Radio special report. The Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Biden is not mincing words to describe Russian President Vladimir Putin when meeting with Ukrainian refugees Saturday.
He's a butcher.
Biden's scathing remark about Putin came during a brief encounter with reporters at a sports arena in Warsaw. Biden's visit comes before a significant speech set for 1 p.m. Eastern from Poland. An ambulance blessed and donated by Pope Francis is on its way to Ukraine. The vehicle will provide relief in Lviv. The western city has seen a steady influx of displaced Ukrainians arriving from the east. The donation follows strong criticism from the Pope Thursday, where he described the ongoing Russian invasion as madness. A top Russian general says the first phase of the war in Ukraine is over. The general made the announcement in a briefing on Friday and said the main tasks of the first stage of the operation have been completed. This has been an NBC News Radio special report, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I'm Julie Ryan.
Hey, at our startup, my team and I move at the speed of tech 24/7. Bottom line, I just want the news that matters. So I turn to my local radio and TV stations. I want to hear from people who live and work in my town, people I know and trust. For the best entertainment, sports, news, weather, and traffic, anytime, anywhere, I stay local. Support your local stations. Text radio to 52886. Furnished by the NAB and this station. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by Finger Lakes Mercantile, a veteran-owned and operated business offering graphic design services and UV printing. For more information, including samples of the products they provide, you may visit fingerlakesmercantile.com or call 585-944-1077.
This program is presented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Obesity is a major public health problem in the U.S. Nearly 1 in 5 young people between the ages of 2 and 19 has obesity. Unfortunately, children with obesity are likely to become adults who struggle with their weight. Obesity in adults is associated with heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Children with obesity are more likely to suffer from depression and low self-esteem. Developing healthy habits early in life can help prevent obesity. Eat a diet high in fruits and vegetables, drink water instead of sweetened beverages, and get regular physical activity. These are the most effective ways for children and parents to maintain a healthy weight. Thank you for joining us on A Minute of Health with CDC.
For the most accurate health information, visit cdc.gov or call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
Did you know that when you make time to talk, read, or sing with your child, you're helping to shape and strengthen their brains for the years to come? As a father, helping my child thrive is the most important thing to me. Each of us has the power to create a strong start for our children and to help them enter school ready to learn and succeed in life, starting from the day they are born. Visit talkingisteaching.org for free tips, resources, and ideas on how to transform everyday moments into magical moments for learning.
I'm Dr. Lee Beers with the American Academy of Pediatrics. As a mom, I know it's hard to parent during a pandemic. Kids are back in school, but you worry they'll be sent home because of a COVID exposure or just the sniffles. And you worry about your child getting sick from COVID and ending up in the hospital. What gives me peace of mind is the COVID vaccine. It's safe and effective against serious illness. And now kids 5 and older can get the vaccine. Please call your pediatrician.
What if you were wearing something sexy? What if you were drinking? What if you made the first move? No matter what, sexual assault is never your fault. Support is available 24/7 through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN, reminding you it's never your fault.
Brought to you by Rain and this station.
You can enjoy great music like this every week on Big Band Friday. Sound Bytes continues next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back to America's longest running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And at 8 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes. That's right. We gave Dennis the hook. Get him out of here now. He'll probably...
If he behaves himself next week, maybe we'll let him back.
Well, maybe we'll let him back. But right now, we gave him the hook. He's gone. He's out. He's done. And in the meantime, patiently waiting on the phone is Mike from Batavia. Welcome, Mike. What's up?
Hi there, guys. Great show.
Thanks.
The previous caller with that crystal disk work info works great, and it forces you. It checks the drive every time you boot off of it, so it gives you a report and more information than you want to know. You know.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. It's nice because it forces you to look at the condition of the drive every time you boot. And well, my problem is that I am new to Windows 10. Like I'm a 1 week new to Windows 10.
Wow.
Well, I've been running Windows 7 because that's what came with the machines, and I never had a need to go beyond. But
right.
Now I do. Okay. So, and I'm in disk management, and what it says is this disk is offline because it has a signature collision with another disk that is online. I went to the what I assume was the opposing disk, and I renamed the volume, but I don't know, if it didn't seem to fix it. And I rebooted, and it didn't seem to fix it.
Do you have other computers on your network?
No, just this one. No, well, what it is, I've got three drives hooked to this machine at this time, and because I had formatted, and there's nothing on there, but I just wondered if there was a quick, like I could rename a volume or something. Yeah, I don't know if it. And like I said, this might be a strange thing. You may not have ever seen this.
Yeah, there is a fix for this. You have to go into the run command and type. Well, it's disk management, but of course it's DISK. MGMT.MSC for Microsoft Service Console. So it's disk.MSC. And then you click OK to open disk management, right? Right click on the drive. And then you can change. Oh, no, you want to change the disk signature, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I just reading what it says. This disk is offline because it has a signature conflict with another disk.
That's saying the same name then.
Right. You want to instead open that command prompt on Windows 10 and run as administrator. Right. So if you type command and you get a list of things, you'll see command prompt listed, but over on the right it'll say run as administrator. And that lets you run it as administrator, shockingly enough. Then you type the command disk part. That's the disk partition manager.
Right. I've used it before.
Okay. Then you list your disks.
Well, I've used it on Windows 7. You know what I mean?
Same idea. You list your disks, and then you select whichever disk it is and make sure you get the right one. You are on your own for that.
Yeah, I got you.
Then you can type unique ID, which is all one word, disk. And then you'll see unique ID disk, and it'll say ID equals whatever that number is. To change that ID, you type unique disk space ID, and that's in caps, no space equals, again, no space, and the new ID.
Okay.
I will post a link that will help you with this.
Another thing, though, Mike, is you're probably trying to get used to those stupid panes and all that, and the windows and all that.
Oh yeah.
All right. If you go to your web browser and do a search for Classic Shell. Classic Shell is a program that you can download and install, and you can, even though it's Windows 10, have it look like Windows 7.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it, Dave, but I think I got to learn this stuff. You know, it's like
right.
I can better. I mean, I still got my Windows 7 disk. I can put one on there and anything important I could do. But I've got to pick this up. This is
Yeah, no, I just didn't like the menu system that they put in Windows 10. You know, they made something that was very simple to use, and it's like added more complexity and just like renaming all, add remove programs and, other stuff. They just to change it up, they had to change the names, and it's like, why?
Right.
Yeah. Well, the whole reason I'm doing this is I've put an NVMe drive in the machine. Under Windows 7, it's darn near impossible to boot off of. So I've gone to Windows 10, and it still will not boot off of it because the machine's old. But what I'm gonna do is make like a USB either out of a Cronus disk director or Clover, and boot to the USB, or to the SATA, then boot back to the NVMe drive, which will give me the speed of an NVMe drive. That's the whole reason why I've moved to 10. The 7 won't do that for me.
Right. Yeah. I've published is it published? Yes, it is. Published a link to the file. Changing the ID is down a little ways, and you should be able to find that and see it working just fine.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye there.
Yeah, there's this goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier, like smart technology and all those other things. There are lots of things you can do to manage your hard drives, but some of it is very esoteric. And I would caution Mike when he's using something that is potentially destructive as disk manager, to be very, very careful that he is on the correct drive when he starts screwing around with stuff. Yeah, that is absolutely essential. But
that check once, check twice.
Yeah, and then check a third time.
Yeah.
I have done that many times. You set it up, you check it, and you walk away for a minute. And you come back and you check it again, and then you hit enter.
Been there, done that.
Oh, yeah. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Earl from Canandaigua, New York. What's up, Earl?
Hi, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Well, good afternoon. So we have a Dell laptop computer. It's running Windows 10. It migrated from, to 8 to 10 after from the manufacturer's purchase. It's incredibly slow now over the course of the last 2.5 to 3 years of using it on just when you boot it up. It just gets slower and slower and slower. When I go to Task Manager and I look at the processes, the CPU is running about 19%, 15, 19, it moves around. The actual memory, which is the amount of RAM it's using, goes, just sitting here idle, it's like at 68. I've seen it go up 72 without doing much of anything. We have 4 gigs of RAM, and we're running a Norton, let's see, we got a Norton 360, which she uses to manage, all of her stuff, as well as Norton Utilities sitting as a tool in the background. We've looked at the defrag and compact and repair and all that, seems to be fine.
What's the disk usage?
Disk is right now 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, that we see that a lot. There's a number of things that can cause that. One is if you're running multiple antivirus programs.
Okay.
Often people download an antivirus program they like, but they don't think, to disable
Or
Disk
uninstall it.
Defender.
Oh yeah, too.
Right. And so they're running at least 2. I just fixed the machine recently that was running 4. But just, whatever. But the big fix is there's a thing called Superfetch.
Superfetch. I'm taking notes here.
Yeah. And I'll post a link.
Okay.
There's a thing called Superfetch. And the idea is it decreases boot time and loads programs in the background. The problem is it's a very poorly written piece of software.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way. Particularly when you upgrade from 8 to 10, it does not upgrade properly.
Okay.
So what you can do is turn that off. What that means is you will have a moment or two each time you load a program. It'll take an extra second to load, but it also means that your machine is no longer dog slow.
So let me recap here. So Superfetch is a program that I would download.
No, Superfetch is built into your machine, and what you're going to do is turn it off.
Oh, turn it off. Okay, got it.
So I'm going to post a link to disable Superfetch.
Okay.
Windows 10.
Yeah.
And not 100. Windows 10 and 11.
How old did you say this machine was?
3 years.
It's a laptop.
Yeah.
You might want to also look into adding more memory.
RAM.
Yeah, you've only got 4 meg there.
Yeah.
8 would definitely do you a little bit better. To go from 8 to 10, like anything else, with a newer operating system, he also raised the price of poker to get into the game.
Yeah.
And 4 meg will run it, but to really speed things up a little bit, 8 wouldn't hurt.
Okay, so when I'm looking in Task Manager, the 100% disk, are we talking about swapping? Is that RAM, or is it 68% memory RAM that it's showing on the chart?
No, RAM is different from the disk drive.
Okay, the disk drive is the hard drive we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, if you click on that, and if you say click on My PC, and it opens up and it shows you your C drive. If you right click on that and go down and say Properties, it'll show you the size of your hard drive and like this little wheel and how much of it's full versus empty.
Okay, it's not that there's a lot in the hard drive. It's obviously the activity of the hard drive is
Okay.
it's 100%, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, got it. That's what that turning off Superfetch will address.
Right.
Oh, cool. Well, this is good. Good thinking. Thank you.
All right. I think I published it. I don't know what I published at this point, but I think it's published.
Okay, so to find that, I'll go to soundbytes.com.
Soundbytes.org.
Soundbytes.org. Okay.
And that will show you. It's probably the third one down. The first 2 are pinned.
Yeah.
So it should say disable Superfetch Windows 10 11.
Oh, perfect. Oh, good. Oh, fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, Superfetch. I shouldn't say it's just junk. It works on a new machine, on a Windows 11 machine or a Windows 10 machine, but that upgrade from 8 to 10 it does not upgrade properly on too many machines, and consequently, it is 100% all the time, and that slows your machine down something horrible. I had like I said, I fixed a machine recently that was taking over 4 minutes to boot up and got it down to about 1 minute and a third. So, there was a lot going wrong, but one of the big things was Superfetch.
And I was wondering if he's also checked super anti-spyware and malware Bytes Dance to Tango.
Right, you should dance the tango. Definitely.
Spyware and all that,
and maybe run Revo Uninstaller to remove junk from the thing. But all of those are important. But if your disk is running at 100% all the time, it's Superfetch.
And like I say, also 4 versus 8.
4 gig is the minimum, absolute minimum. Yes, but if it's running at 100% all the time, start with Superfetch. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Sandy from Hamlin, New York. What's up, Sandy?
Well, Nick, I want to tell you because of you and the show that I finally broke down and we got a Chrome box.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I got a Chrome box is because I wanted to keep my monitor and I liked my keyboard.
Mhm.
So it's working out great.
Cool.
Now, this is the year that I've been dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And and so this is the year that I wanted to spend more. I've been messing around with the with the Chrome, but I haven't spent. I've just gotten what I needed, and that was fine. But now I want to do a little bit more investigating about it. And so in that effort, I was looking around, and I went to I got your seniors Chromebook for Seniors on Amazon.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
And that was helpful. And I'm going through the suggestions that you have as to, what to explore, what to look at and stuff. And so, and I was in the Chrome web store, and I'm looking around, and I just happened to notice up at the top right-hand side, all of a sudden, this little image appeared, and it was, it said anonymous mink. And I couldn't, I thought, well, I didn't click on anything. I don't know why that appeared. And I was just wondering, have you ever heard of anything like that or what that could be? I went, and it stayed there yesterday, but I went back in today and now it's not there. So I don't know if somebody was trying to, contact me or...
What page were you on when you saw this?
I was on the Chrome web store. And I was just kind of messing around and stuff. And I just happened to, out of the corner of my eye, there was like a flash, and I thought, what? And I looked over, and then that was up there on the upper right-hand corner, like where all the other little signs are for to do stuff. And I thought,
If you were actually on a Google Docs page, which many of the web store things lead you to, then you were essentially sharing that page with a whole lot of other people.
Oh.
And you will see the other people who are sharing that page. Some of them will have names, but many of them will just be anonymous.
Okay. All right.
So it was in a little circle?
No, it was kind of like just a little, how some people have, when you do the Facebook and there's no picture of anybody, but there's an outline of a, like a face or something like that. That's what it was. It was just like an outline of a
right.
like a sideways person.
The blank person thing. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
If that happened, if that showed up inside the page, then you have nothing to worry about.
Okay. And my last question is, do you have any opinion of DuckDuckGo extension?
Yeah, well, yes. DuckDuckGo. Hi, DuckDuck.
Again.
Thanks for calling.
Sure.
DuckDuckGo is a different search engine.
Yeah, I'm on that. I did change over, so I do use DuckDuckGo, and now. Again, because I'm exploring more, and they've got a DuckDuckGo extension, which is supposed to help you have more privacy while you're browsing.
Right. It is from the DuckDuckGo people, and I very much trust them.
Okay.
So it does work, and it does work pretty well. So yeah, I would say it's not really a problem. They just updated it like last week or something. So I mean, it's current, and it's a good product, and the DuckDuckGo people are pretty good.
Okay, so as long as I've got your endorsement, then I'll look into it, and then my next thing.
His head just got 6 times bigger.
That's right.
Impossible.
Oh, it's not going to fit out of this room.
And the next thing I'm going to be doing is NPass.
Oh, you'll like it.
There you go.
Yeah. So thank you guys. We're longtime listeners and longtime members. And
thank you very much. We appreciate that.
That's what we'd like to hear. Thank you, Sandy. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. if I can put in a shameless plug for myself before we go on
heck
break.
yeah.
I am one of the masterminds on mastermindlounge.com, and I am teaching a course on getting the most out of your Chromebook. So if there are people who are interested in that, they can go take a look at that and see. And I teach it's an hour long. No, it's a half hour long course. That particular one is half an hour.
Cool. Gonna have to start doing one though next on the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, I've got classes up on that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I
got classes on Raspberry Pi. I got classes on Linux. I got classes on Chromebooks.
But like I say, you're gonna have to start one up though on Linux.
I got one on Linux. I'm teaching a dozen courses.
The XSFCE.
Yeah. XFCE. It's a great product.
Well, just the Linux. I don't know if you want to call it Linux Mint, because there's Linux Mint, there's Cinnamon, and now XFCF. And what we're talking about is
there's 100 different front ends for Linux.
Debian, and I mean, my head is still spinning from all the different types that you can use and everything else for Linux. If you really want to get away from Windows, if you're like me and I've tired, how is Windows going to mess up my machine next? And you got an old computer sitting around and you want to try something out, give it a shot.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with me, Nick Francesco, and you. It is 29 minutes. No Steve Ray. I don't see Steve Ray. No, ignore him so much, it's like he's not there. But we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest running computer show in the known. Steve's in the car right now screaming at me. Sound Bites on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Before you call into our show, please make note of the following rules. 1, turn your radio down. 2, turn your radio down lower. 3, remember, nobody has invented a good-sounding speakerphone yet. Don't use them. 4, make sure you have a point. It makes for a more interesting show. 5, calling does not guarantee you'll get on the air. No whining. 6, if you do get on the air, please do not tell the host what you just told the screener. We don't care. And 7, is that radio turned down yet? We hope this will make for a more enjoyable program, and we thank you for your time.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is an NBC News Radio special report. The Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Biden is set to deliver a major speech from Poland on the Russian war in Ukraine. The speech follows a meeting with Polish President Andrzej Duda, in which Biden called for NATO unity in the face of Russian aggression. The White House says Biden will speak about the united efforts of the free world to support the people of Ukraine, hold Russia accountable for its brutal war, and defend a future that is rooted in democratic principles. The mayor of a northern Ukrainian city is free after being detained by Russian forces. A local Ukrainian political party announced his release today. In a video posted to Facebook, Mayor Yuri Fomichev was urging residents to communicate with the occupiers. He went on to say that there is no other option. Prior to his abduction, the mayor had urged residents to protest the occupation in the city's main square. This has been an NBC News Radio special report, The Russian Invasion of Ukraine. I'm Julie Ryan.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural insect pest control products, including Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bits. Summit Year-Round Spray Oil can be used on indoor and outdoor plants and mosquito bits for fungus gnats and container plants. Summit products are available at garden centers and hardware stores everywhere. Information on how to control insect pests can be found at summitresponsibleSolutions.com.
Think about your mother, your sister, your girlfriend. 1 in 6 women is a victim of sexual assault. Now think about your father, your brother, your best friend. Men are victims too. Rape can happen to anyone. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, encouraging you to call the National Sexual Assault Hotline to learn how to support someone you love. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by Rain and this station.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
An unsettled story this weekend and a wintry story as well as we head through this Saturday's round. Can't even rule out a wet snowflake or two in the high hills. The high temperature into the mid-40s. Your Saturday night features scattered showers of both rain and wet snow. In fact, into the higher elevations southwest of Rochester, a little bit of accumulation is possible. The overnight low temperature into the mid-20s. We'll look for a stiff breeze with areas of lake snow on Sunday, the high near 30. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got overcast skies, 43 degrees out at the airport and 46 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is Matt Shackelford. Join me or Rick Petrie on alternating Tuesdays from 9 to midnight on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
And I'm Dave Enright.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites. We have no one online, right?
Nope.
No. I really love that. A few flakes in the hills. I remember 1882. We were driving them dogies from Abilene.
My wife was, speaking of bad weather and all that.
Yeah.
It's weird because, everybody says, oh, no, there's no stinking climate change in that. She's, oh my gosh. I go, what? She goes, evidently there is a huge section of ice up in Antarctica that just broke off.
Yep.
And it's, I guess, very concerning scientists right now because this isn't just some small iceberg. This was a land piece of, it's been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
That due to climate change, all of a sudden, boom, broke off. And the computers, registered that there was some noise up there and they go, yep, it broke off.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's going to raise
water
levels a little bit, but even a little bit.
Especially with the summer months coming on. Because that stuff all flows down south.
Yep.
And that's going to affect all the way around.
It's going to be some flooding. We'll see. At any rate, to finish the discussion we were having before, I do have, I'm at mastermindlounge.com.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm teaching a course on getting the most out of your Chromebook, how to publish an ebook on Amazon, moving from Windows to Linux, Raspberry Pi for beginners. And I'm teaching an event, a one-time thing on cybersecurity for small businesses.
Now, do you have a schedule that people can go and look at to see if there's a particular class that they might be interested in?
The classes are, I make myself available at certain times. So you can pick your date and your time for the classes. The event is a one-time only, date only thing.
Like any other event.
But we've got lots of people teaching lots of things. We have leadership and just an amazing amount of stuff that's available. So lots of really good people doing lots of really good things. But if people were asking, and those are the things that I teach there at mastermindlounge.com. And that's my little self-serving plug for today. But yeah, if your machine is running slowly, there are 100,000 things that can, particularly your Windows machine, that can cause it. But if you're one of the people updated from 8 to 10, the first culprit to take a look at is Superfetch. And as I said, we've now got a link, I hope, on the homepage.
We'll find out.
I should probably go look.
Steve will check it out.
Come on, show it to me. Well, I think it's I need better.
Broke the link?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Here it comes. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. So it's called Disable Superfetch Windows 10 11. on our website, soundbytes.org. And as I said, in Windows 11, it works okay. On Windows 10, it works okay. But if you upgraded from 8 to 10 in particular, it may well be running at 100% all the time, which means that every other disk access, whether you're writing or reading, is going to be waiting and trying to horn in between superfetch, screwing things up. So while your machine will run okay, it will have trouble loading or saving files. So in Disk Manager, when you look at the Task Manager, if you see 100% disk usage, check Superfetch, turn it off, see if that solves the problem.
Well, that's one other thing people have to be aware of, and you bring up a good point in that last caller. He went from 8 to 10, and now they're trying to roll out 11. And folks, if you went from 8 to 10, I would not recommend going to 11. Like we've said a long time, and the price of poker keeps going up. And if you went from 8 to 10 and your machine's running slow now, and then you want to go to 11, I guarantee it, you're going to get so annoyed that whether it's a laptop or desktop is probably going to go out the front door, hitting the street, because it will slowly. Granted, Windows will sit there and say, yeah, you can run it. Well, yeah, I can walk from here to Las Vegas too. It might take me some time, but I'll get there. Be dog tired, but I'll get there.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. And that's where I would recommend not doing it.
Right.
Not unless, especially the older machines, and the gentleman should also look at maybe upgrading the RAM a little bit more. Go from 4 to 8.
Right, if you can.
Because
the reality is that, I'm sorry, you can only nurse a computer so long. At some point, if you were to take that machine and put Linux on it, it'll run like a champ. 4 gig is plenty for a Linux machine, but Windows requires more, and that's just the reality. Look, when Microsoft creates Windows, they give their users top-of-the-line machines with 64 gig of RAM and gigantic, super-fast SSD drives. And so they never understand what it is that the average user goes through.
Yep.
So, Linux people program for average users. That's one of the things about them. And so my suggestion, and Dave's suggestion, is if you're going to move from Windows 8 or 10 to 11, do it on a new machine. Just get a new machine. I know, parlous economic times, who's got the money, et cetera, but it's going to run dog slow. Particularly if you bought it, 7-10 years ago for Windows 8.
Yeah, because that's it. Now, are you running Linux? What version of Linux you running on your 400?
I just started with the regular Raspberry Raspbian, whatever they call it this week.
64-bit?
Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit.
How do you like the 64-bit?
It's fine. It's fine. It runs great. I don't have any problem with it at all. It's fast. It's easy. It runs great.
Yeah, because I downloaded the latest Imager, and they made the utility a lot simpler for setting it up, whether you want to have your Pi, boot off the SSD, a hard drive,
right,
or I should say an SD card or a USB port.
Right.
And it's very simple, folks. You just put, whether it's the hard drive, or I'd use an SD card. And what you do is you put it in your PC, and you start up the Imager. And you go down to miscellaneous and go over and say boot selector. And it gives you 3 choices. And you can have it click, leave it as it is, because it defaults to the SD card. But if you wanted to go to USB, you'd say USB. it'll write it to that little card. You then take it out of there, put it in your Raspberry Pi, boot it up. What's going to happen is the screen's just going to flash green for a few minutes or a few seconds. At that point, I give it about, 15, 20 seconds at least. Shut it down, take that out, and then hook up your hard drive, and it'll now boot, no longer check the SD drive unless there isn't something hooked up to the USB.
Right.
So
it checks USB first, and
Yep.
then it checks SD.
Yep. So that's kind of a nice feature, that they keep. And again, this is all free stuff.
It's all free stuff. Well, you buy the Raspberry Pi, but everything else is free.
Yeah, but all the code and programs and everything else, and people putting the input for the different programs. And that now, most software packages, when you go to say download something, at least I've seen this, is, they'll say, okay, well, we've got the Mac version, we got the Windows version, and we got the Linux version. What flavor would you like?
Mm-hmm.
And you can just pick your poison and go at it. And they're just making it more and more simpler to slowly, like we said at the very beginning of the show, wean people off of Windows.
Yeah.
And what do you got to lose? If you've got an old computer laying around and it's got, like you say, 4 meg, and it doesn't need a big hard drive in it. Just load it up and play with it. So what if it messes up? You just reflash it and start over again.
Exactly
Nothing
right.
ventured, nothing gained. But you'd be surprised at how fast it is on an old machine. It's like, that thing used to take forever to load up and even run. No, I don't even want to be bothered with it. You change your mind quickly.
Yeah, it is. Linux is.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer, and it's easy to use. That's the big thing. And the best part about it is it's fresh. It's fun. I have fun playing with Linux. It's so responsive and so easy, and there's so much you can do.
Well, that's why I said it. You asked me how I was doing. I go, tired because of you again.
That's right. It's my fault, and I'm taking full responsibility.
Yep, and I'm glad of it. Because
somebody was saying to me the other day, well, I like to play games like Quake and those old games.
So
I said, you want to play Quake? You can get Quake Arena. You can get a server. You can run a Quake server if you like, and have 200 people on it if you like. So you can do whatever you want to do. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, hold on.
It's easy enough to do. Lots and lots of software. As Dave said, there's 60,000 programs available for Linux. I'd be shocked if you couldn't find something that you wanted to play with.
Yeah, 66,000, and that doesn't even account if you go to if you load Wine and have other programs that, like I said,
did we not mention that you can run Windows programs under Linux? Oh, yeah, you can run Windows programs under Linux. There's a program called Wine, which stands for Wine is not an emulator. It's a recursive acronym. And it is well, I shouldn't say it's an emulator because Wine is not an emulator, but it basically lets you run Windows programs under Linux. So you load Wine first and then reboot. You may have to reboot your machine. I don't remember that part. But once you've done that, then you can download an exe file or any sort of Windows program, double click on it, and Wine starts up and the program starts up and you're on your way.
There you go.
All right, to the phones. Our next caller is James from Rochester, New York. Hi, James. What's up?
Oh, yes. I have a question. When I take a couple of things and I want to highlight them, and then I left click where you can print them or copy them. I'm sorry, right click. Sometimes, and I have that hooked up to my printer. Sometimes it will print, and other times it doesn't. It just leaves a blank page.
Right.
Why that do that?
Okay. Sometimes it depends on what it is you're trying to print. Whenever you go to print something, if you don't have the program that would normally load that file, you can't print it. Or if it's a program, not a file, you can't print it. So I've had that happen to me a couple of times. So for example, somebody sent me something I wasn't paying enough attention. It was a not PowerPoint, the graphic program.
Kim?
No, the other one, the one for Windows.
But I know what you're talking.
Yeah. At any rate, I couldn't print that because I don't own that program, so it didn't print the file.
Each site has different things.
Right. And so if you don't have the program that will print that thing, you can't print it.
Yeah, what I do is on the highlight, say if it's a couple sentences, whatever it is, I will copy it, and then I put it on my Yahoo email and paste it there, and then I print it from there.
Right. And sometimes you'll find that people don't want you copying the stuff they've written. So there are programs that they add to their websites that prevent you from printing directly.
Yeah, this is mostly general stuff.
Right.
But obviously not everything you highlight can be printed. Mostly yes, but not everything.
Not everything. And there's nothing that's their decision, and there's not much you can do about that.
Nothing you can do about that. Well, thank you so much. Your show is great.
Thanks, James.
Okay.
Have fun. Yeah. We do see that too regularly, quite honestly. It's people don't want you copying in their information, and mostly that's so it's harder to steal. But sometimes you just want it for your own personal use, to remind yourself of a thing to do or a way to do something. And it's too bad that they make it hard to do that, but it is the way it is. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Dennis from Rochester, New York. Hi, Dennis. What's up?
You guys were talking about installing Linux on an old computer. It's been about a year or more since I tried. I cannot seem to make a boot device in order to install Linux. Could you publish a link on Soundbytes so that I can follow some instructions on how to do it properly? Because I just can't. I've tried with a flash drive and I just get nowhere.
All right, here's a good one that I found out. If you you download the ISO image from, say, that website, right? Okay.
Are you on Windows?
Pardon me?
Are you on Windows?
Windows 10.
Okay, then I'll publish a thing on Rufus. Okay.
There's a great program called Etcher, ETCHER. If you start that program up, can't make it any simpler. It's got literally 3 buttons to touch. The first one is you click on it and it says, all right, what ISO you want to use? And you select it. Say you download it to your desktop. You would say Linux Mint. So you select that, puts it in that window. Then it goes to the next tab. It says, all right, what device do you want to write it to? Click on that. It will find the USB drive. You select that. Now here's the tough part. The third button is create it. And you click that and it writes it right to the USB drive that you can then, once it's done, it says, we're done. Pull it out, put it into the computer that you want to put the OS on, and there you go.
Okay. I mean, I know enough to go to the boot menu and make sure it's going to boot from the USB flash drive first. So that's not the problem. I just can't seem to make a bootable.
The Etcher. Etcher is a free program that you can download, and it works great.
Okay, good. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I discovered that one, and
yeah, that's a good one. In fact, I'm copying. I'm creating a link that with both that and the other one I found.
Linux.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. There's a universal I saw one that says universal USB, but I found Fetcher or Etcher to be a lot easier.
Rufus or Etcher or Bellina Etcher,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, which is actually even easier to use.
But like I say, 3 little buttons. Click the ISO, click your device, do it. Can't get any simpler than that.
Yeah, that's the way. Come on. That's
that
the
cooperating.
way. There we go. Bellina Etcher does the same.
Okay. Yeah,
the
they're
same
all
thing.
great.
So
And
I put all 3 of them in that link. I am now publishing that link. I think. Yes, I am. And we're on our way.
see, but that's what I mean. We're getting more and more folks because let's face it, all of us probably have an old computer sitting around somewheres that's like, yeah, that thing is too old to use and I don't want to bother with it. And it's something fun to play with. Oh, especially us, I'm so used to tinkering and, if it blows up, all right, well, start again. No biggie.
That's exactly
Boom,
right.
Plug it in, start again.
And to be clear, absolutely clear, we never recommend doing this with your main machine.
Oh, heck no.
Because you never know. But if you have a second, that's how I got started with Linux. I was using Windows all the time, and I needed to do some testing of some possibly virus-filled. Turned out to be very virus-filled. And I thought, I'm really not doing this on my main machine.
No.
So I set up a second machine, and while I set it up, I thought to myself, why don't I play with Linux? Because if this is, in fact, a Windows virus, it won't even affect it. I don't have to keep redesigning the machine. So I put Linux on it, tested it, discovered indeed it was very, very buggy or very virus-filled, and then left Linux on it, slowly started doing more and more stuff on Linux. And realized that I was spending all my time on that secondary slow machine and never once booting up my high-end desktop unless I had to do some network thing at work. So
there you go.
Excuse me. Thank you. So I moved everything over to Linux. And
that's the other thing too I like about Linux. It does a great job that when you first load it up and get it set up, folks, you can start doing automatic backups.
Mm-hmm.
So that say you do something and you can go right to select the backups and you can go back to day 1 and boom, start over again. You don't have to reload the operating system. It already recorded what your settings were and puts it back to that point for you. Even better than Windows.
Yeah, there's lots of things you can do under Linux that you didn't used to be able to do, and it's all good. The big thing about Linux is the fear. People are afraid of new.
Mm-hmm.
But as we have been saying for decades, it's like buying a new car. You already know how to drive. You just don't know where the radio controls are.
Yeah.
And you'll find them. You're not dumb. You just haven't learned this. And you can learn this. It's not hard.
But like you said, though, it's a second machine.
Right.
So what if you mess things up? No big deal.
It's hard to mess things up unless you're typing with a hammer.
Yeah,
But it can be done, but it's very hard to do. And that's true of both Linux and Windows. Well, like we said, there were a couple people today who want to run some programs that are a little dangerous. You want to be super careful before you run those.
Yeah.
And you want to have done a backup. You always want to have a backup.
2 at least.
Right, before you run some of those programs. So be very careful when you run things like when you go into Disk Manager and stuff like that. That's important. So be careful.
Yeah, because but again, the same token, don't let it stop you. You know, I mean, it's a lot. It can be a lot of fun, and down the road, especially the way Windows is going in the direction that you're going to pay a yearly service to rent it because you don't own it anymore. You're renting it. You're going to wind up renting it from Microsoft. That's the only way they're going to make money off the millions of machines that have Windows installed on it, is at some point in time, they're going to start charging a yearly fee.
They've been talking about that for a while now. They've been telling their investors they're going to do it. Nobody lies to the investors. That's a simple fact of life. You do not lie to the investors.
No, and they got, if they want to stay the lights on and the doors open, they've got to find ways of making money. And, there's not much more they can do to the operating system.
That's right. All right, we are done for another week. I want to thank each and every person who called in. I want to thank Dennis Worster for taking time out of his day to join us. I'm sorry he had to leave early. Oh, I'm sorry. We gave him the hook. Maybe we'll let him back in next week. I want to thank Dave Enright, who stayed awake for the entire show. I'm quite impressed by that, considering how tired he was this morning. I'm Nick Francesco. Do me a favor and vote in the poll at soundbytes.org. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it makes me happy. What's more important than that? And we will be back next week with a whole lot more of the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That's right. You've just spent 2 hours of your life listening to Soundbites right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that we can continue to be, with your generous support, member-supported. You're right here on Jazz 90.1. We'll see you in just 166 hours. Be good to one another, will you?
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Hey diners, get ready to try some new restaurants and visit your old favorites as we toast the bounty and world-class cuisine of the Hudson Valley. From March 21st through April 3rd, Hudson Valley Restaurant Week returns, celebrating the region's culinary riches at over 100